Hi guys, welcome to another video. I am doing a second bullet journal video today. The first one I ever did I will link down below. This is now my second bullet journal video and I'm still using the original bullet journal by Lectern, I think that's how you say it. And the reason I wanted to do another video is because as of April's setup, I'm changing the way that I'm using my journal a little bit. And I hadn't done another video because I'm still using it the same way as I was in the previous video. And so I'm going to quickly run through the sort of layout that I've been using, which I still really like. I'm a massive fan of it still, but I wanted just to do something a little bit more creative and a bit different. So I've always kind of used it for everything. I have notebooks and things, but I do tend to stick in post-it notes and have little notes that I clip in and stuff. So I wanted to kind of bear that in mind when I did a different setup so that I could have a bit more of an efficient way of using it with a bit more space. Before I go on, I'll just quickly talk about some of the tools that I use to journal. The most important thing for me really are pens. I really like to use these fine tip pens. These are just two regular fine tip black pens in a 0.1 and 0.3. For my April setup, I've used this Tombow marker, which has got a brush tip on one end and a fine line on the other end, and it's kind of an olivey greeny colour. But I also use the Winsor & Newton pastel markers as well, which you'll see in my previous video linked down below. And then in the April spread, I used washi tape, I used a gel pen, this white one here, pencil to set it up, as well as scraps out of magazines of paper and insides of envelopes for patterns and things like that. So I've got a lot more kind of collage-y in the April setup, which you'll see in a second. So I started the 2018 setup kind of a third of the way into this journal, with my word of the year being trust, and then I put on the next page my goals for 2018, and then I always start my month with some kind of doodle of the month, and then I usually have a double page where I do a big month overlook like this and a main to-do list, and then I often have something to do with training, a journal section, and then I go on to my weekly spread. Now my weekly spread has been, as you can see, 1 week, over 2 pages, and it's fairly full on, and it's quite simple but fairly full on. And what I'll tend to do, and the thing I wanted to change for my April setup, is that I will list a whole load of things I want to do, and then if I don't do them, I'm then having to rewrite them and rewrite them and rewrite them. So after that, we go to the weekly spreads. I don't think there's anything else. No, there's always a quote at the end of the month and then on to the new month. So moving into April, I started with a drawing for April. Some of you guys may have seen this on my Instagram. I still haven't finished it yet. I still haven't finished shading in the sky, and in fact some of the bits and pieces in the April setup isn't complete yet, but I wanted to show it to you anyway whilst I have a chance to film this. This picture will be available as a print soon in my shop. However, I'm just going to do a better version of it, because this is just a scrappy drawing, but I want to do something fairly similar, like little magical worlds, for my Leaf Lane Studio shop. So if you like this, and it'll have a little quote with it as well, then I'll probably do a couple of different versions of it, and that will be coming out by summertime this year. Okay, into the spread itself. So I had drawn this before I decided to redesign my setup, so I probably wouldn't have done it quite this way, and when I do another bullet journal video you'll get more of an idea how I would have done it, but still this is a fairly simple kind of opening page to April. So we'll go past that part into the new layouts. As you can see already, it's a lot more creative, a bit more an art journal as well as a bullet journal. And part of the reason I wanted to do this is because it's quite a mindfulness exercise, and I just kind of wanted something different because I've been doing the same thing for a year and a half pretty much. So when April comes around, I will sit at the beginning of the month, do a bit of meditation, and I will pull a oracle card. That might be an angel card, it might be an Ascended Masters card, and I will doodle the card here and write the description of what's come up for me on this left hand page, which is something that I do regularly anyway with my cards, just I never put it in my bullet journal, but I wanted to specifically pull a card for the month of April and so on. So that's going to go there. And then I've just doodled this wild rose here and popped a quote down here which I really liked, and the quote is, "Each new chapter of our lives requests an old part of us to fall and a new part of us to rise." And the reason I really like that quote is just purely because in April I'm going to be really embarking on yet another kind of fat loss and exercise program, and it's just throughout April giving myself little nuggets of inspiration and motivation. The next pages you'll see then is a month overview. We'll come to this little tag in a second, and if you remember from where I showed you just now, I had the big month overview over 2 pages. I wasn't really using that, so I wanted to still have it but to minimise it down. And I also added some lunar phases. I just used a bit of washi tape and that white gel pen, and I've put in the phases that are important for the month of April. And you'll see that I've added a bit of collage. This is just scraps of paper that I've collected or bits of magazine that I've saved and things like that. So nothing that I've bought, it's all recycled out of everything that's lying around my art space. And then this little label too was actually from the magazine Flow from over 18 months ago. There's a whole 365 quotes and motivational labels and things to use, and I adapted the back of it. I think this one had something about drinking tea on it, but I stuck some paper on it and I wrote my to-do list. So I've got goals for April. I was going to write them here, but then I saw this and I adapted it and I thought I'd just stick it in. So this has got my big goals for the end of March and beginning of April. So not so much a to-do list actually, it is the big goals. Over the page then I have my journal section / gratitude list, and this goes over 4 pages actually. And I really like, I haven't really got time to do massive journals. I used to have proper notebooks for journaling when I was younger, but now I like to kind of remember the things throughout the day that I'm grateful for, but also just kind of when I look back, like I recently looked back at my last bullet journal and I remembered a whole load of stuff just by reading a few short sentences. So I like to do that. This time around I've added some quotes and some doodles and things in here, which I think just make it look pretty, and things that I want to read. And the same here. This is what I mean about the inside of envelopes, just using that for collage. And then onto the bit that's really shifted, and that is my weekly spread. So my weekly spread now goes over 2 separate spreads like this. So there's a couple of reasons for doing that, and the main one is because I wanted more room. I told you about my to-do lists moving constantly across, and then I would forget something or whatever. So for me, the best thing that will work is for me to do a master to-do list. So I've done that here. I'll write all of the things as they come into my head, and then at the beginning of each day, obviously I'm going to have things like a workout or whatever it is, or things that I'm doing specific days. But in terms of tasks for my blog and my business, I'm going to just sit down every morning and pull off 1 or 2 very important things off of that list, add them to the day and get those done. And then obviously I can pull off more and more as I need to. Depends how efficient I'm feeling. So I'm going to have that master to-do list for the week, and every week I'll have a new master list. I've left myself some extra space for things like shopping lists or whatever it is that I feel like I want to record, but just in a separate little space. And also every week we'll have this section on it too, which is my little checklist for Monday to Sunday: meditation, workout, extra cardio, water taken on board, just to, so I always know when I've drunk enough in the day, so I can just black that little circle out there. And then what macros I'm on, back on counting macros again for April. And then this isn't complete yet, but this is due to the health and fitness motivational little kick that I'm on, just reminding myself of things. So just remember, make a little progress each day, and then I'll add to things as I go through. Keeping it positive. And then Thursday through to Sunday here. Sunday, if you're a reader of my blog, you'll know that I always do a gratitude list. So as the week goes on, I always pull from my journal pages, but I can just quickly write things in here to help me make that process easier and a bit quicker. And then the reason I've added a notes section to Friday is because I often send out newsletters, usually every other Friday for Leaf Lane Studio. And as and when things pop into my mind that I want to say to my subscribers, I will add some notes in to the Friday box. So it might be that it was on Monday, but I'll just add something in for Friday. Otherwise, you can guarantee by the time I've got to Friday, I would have forgotten what that was. So each week basically is set out pretty similar in terms of being Monday to Wednesday. As you can see, this quote isn't finished yet. Believe in yourself. Haven't finished the doodle yet, but I'm getting there. But I've just set it out slightly kind of more interesting every week. just to keep me amused really. Little quotes, space the newsletter, gratitude list again. So each week is the same but set out slightly differently, basically just to keep me on my toes and keep life interesting for me. So as you can see, another doodle, little quotes. Again, quite like this little bulldog clip drawing. And yeah, I'm really enjoying the whole mixture of the collage and drawing thing, actually. I'm enjoying it more that I've had a few days not looking at it because I was covered in glue for several days whilst I did this. But yeah, I'm really pleased with it, and that's where I've got so far. So what I'm going to do now, I think I can fit May in this journal, and then I think June will be a new journal, which Joe's already bought me, so I have that ready to go. I just need to start it. So I think what I'll do is, once I've trialled this way of doing things and also have done May as well, I will do another video for my new journal, and I'll review the April and May out of this one and show you guys the setup that I've done in my new one, including the new future log or anything new that I've popped into my new journal, because I want to do a few things slightly differently for the new one too, but I'm just trialling one thing at a time. So I'm going to trial my weekly spreads in this first, see how I go. So anything that I've mentioned I will link down below, and the one thing I did want to mention is I'm thinking of doing some printable journal prompts and drawings and doodles so you can print them out at home and selling them on my Leaf Lane Studio shop or my Etsy shop. So it'll be things maybe that will look a bit like this but maybe not as scrappy, and quotes and bits and pieces that I've hand drawn or edited or done on Photoshop that will be on 5 or 6 sheets. Be nice and cheap to buy, and that you can print out as many times as you want, cut them out, stick them into your journal. If that's something you'll be interested in, please leave me a comment. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and thank you for subscribing and sticking with me, and if you're new, thank you for being here. Please have a look around at the videos that I've done, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks guys, bye.